Good morning. This is the Board of Directors meeting for the Maryland Environmental Service, November 21st, 2024. It is 9:31 and we are going to go ahead and get started. We do have a quorum and we are ready to begin the meeting. We are going to start with the Inspire Awards.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Today we're recognizing Mackenzie Miller, Claire Spears, Alice for their outstanding contributions to the planning and execution of the 2024 Cox Creek Open House and the groundbreaking for the Swan Creek Nature Trail. On behalf of our client, the Maryland Port Administration. The open house on October 19th provided an opportunity for the public to learn about the Cox Creek Dredge Material Containment Facility, as well as other activities under the MPA Dredge Material Management Program. Activities included a riding tour of the facility, birding tours, fishing, touch a truck, arts and crafts, and educational games, as well as an opportunity to meet port staff and project partners. This year's open house included coordination challenge with the addition of the groundbreaking ceremony Nature Trail. And it had elected officials and VIPs in attendance. The groundbreaking ceremony was a new component to the typical open house programming, and the EDR team went above and beyond to create a meaningful, well-organized event that highlights the great work by MPA and MES. Demonstrated outstanding achievement beyond their job duties, which resulted in a bigger and better event from the previous years, and even a 35% increase over the attendance last year. This provided our client MPA with increased exposure to the surrounding communities about the Dredge Material Management Program and their efforts in sustainability and conservation. The EDR team received so many compliments from MPA, including the director of the Office of Navigation and Innovation, who recognized all the effort that went into this event that she knows was incredibly a lot. But you couldn't even tell because it was so smooth. It went so smooth. I think Dr. Glass and Ellen can attest to that because they were there. So thank you, Dallas, Claire, Mackenzie, Clara, Jenny, and Tim.
Yeah. So I don't know how we're gonna stage. Yeah, it's gonna be a big group. Marnie, here, you hand out this. Yeah. I'm gonna hand out.
I can stay out of the picture. Just
No.
Oh,
I got it.
thank you.
So you can put them on.
Oh, I love. So I need to hand out first.
Yeah, like a whole bag.
Yep. No.
You have one. You have one. Do you have anything else? You got one.
He's like giving them up.
Yeah.
I have like three.
But we do have to be in front of the flag, so you guys got to do it. How do you want to do it? Half moon around the edge of the bill?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we got some. Yes, Marnie can be in front.
I got that part on lock. Thank you so much.
Yeah, show me the front.
I got that.
Yeah, you got it.
I don't know. We got that.
I don't know.
You are.
Yes. You're showing up. I am. But I'll go in the front. Okay, cool. I'll skip a little bit.
Well, you know,
I don't think I have to.
I don't
Sorry,
think
I don't think about it.
I think Debbie needs to understand that she's shorter.
I can create the windows with that credit. Credit in between them.
Okay.
Yes.
Look great on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
No, it was awesome. I saw you there late on Friday.
Nice. That's a yearly appearance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up is approval of the minutes from our meeting on October 31st, 2024. Those minutes have been distributed to the board members. Are there any corrections, additions, comments on those meeting minutes?
No.
And if not, they can be considered approved by consent. And Dr. Glass, I do believe you're going to give us an executive director's report.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you so much. Happy pre-Thanksgiving week to everyone. So during this period, I incurred $721.36 in expense reimbursements and purchase card uses. The majority of the expenses were still related to the incidentals during the trip of the New Orleans for WEFTEC. Two of the expenses were for treating division chiefs that were interviewing for a division chief role to lunch during their day at MES. It's a thing we do with our interview process where we invite at least the last two candidates in for a day, half day, and give a presentation to whoever can show up. So we take people to lunch on that. Deputy Furketic had one expense reimbursement for interviewing a division chief as well. But then two purchase card uses, and one of them was a reimbursement from the Chesapeake Water Environment Association for half of her hotel expenses during WEFTEC. Next slide. The highlight of my engagements over this past 3 weeks, this is a short connection. We had a great tour of Blink. So Blink is going to provide the hardware for our new 12 charging stations that'll be development over the next 18 months. And that was very interesting to see. Their facility is just right off of Route 50, not too far from here. That was very interesting. Also, I'd like to highlight, I went to the Latin American Youth Center. They came and were gracious enough to present to us during Hispanic Heritage Month. And I'm pushing a new effort to try to create pipelines with NGOs and workforce development groups for a lot of our entry-level positions. And so it was they only gave me 30 minutes and it was too short. So I've been invited to come back and talk some more. And the other thing I like to highlight is that a unique thing, everyone should really use the power of LinkedIn. A former colleague that Dean Johnson knows asked me if I could help him find a transportation and teacher course in the spring. I'm not a transportation engineer, but I did act like one for 4 years. And so I just posted it on LinkedIn and it got reposted and he got two candidates to go teach a class at Howard. So everyone should, and we're doing it at MES, but everyone should really use the power of LinkedIn to connect other people and just help get different people jobs. Next slide. I'm happy to announce that on Tuesday, November 12th, we graduated another 50 managers and supervisors from our internal program with the Anne Arundel Community College. And we were honored that Chair Heller served as our keynote speaker. And the beautiful picture for an unseasonably warm November day. So the program continues to go. This was a second iteration in one calendar year, and we will be doing our spring, but we will evaluate. It is kind of expensive, but we will evaluate whether we'll be doing two cohorts or not next year. We'll see what the demand is like and see how the finances go. But it was a great class on a great day, and they toured the Midshore 2, and Midshore 2 saved a boat for me, but I didn't make it because I didn't get to see the boat get crushed and buried. But it was unfortunate. I wish they would have let me know. So anyway, it was a great graduating class. Next slide. I'm really, really proud and happy to announce the Employee Assistance Program is finally launched with the consultant BHS. So by offering this, we are providing free confidential assistance to help with personal or professional issues that may impact daily responsibilities of our employees. Support is available 24/7 through a toll-free number, ensuring help is just a call away. So this is for short-term face-to-face or telephone counseling services. It's unlimited toll-free telephone consultations, nationwide access to a network of their professionals, legal and financial consultations, child care and elder care referrals, access to a web-based portal, and a resource library for online training articles and more. We're really, really happy that this is finally launched. Hopefully, as we're having counseling, as we model, coach, and care for our staff, they will be able to use these resources. And we're going to have a dedicated push through all forms of communication to make sure that all employees know that this exists now, and they can use these for vital support for them and themselves and their families. So we told you about this maybe 6 months ago. There was a lot of back and forth contractually, but it's finally launched and it's finally here at MES. So really proud of all the work, HR, and all the other support that has been done with procurement, et cetera, to get this finally done. So want to let you all know about that.
Beautiful.
Next slide. And so during a trip to Poplar Island, a staff member that was a relatively new hire brought up the lack of a mentoring program at MES. And she talked about it, raved about the program at her last job. So, you know, this is on a to-do list. I've showed you my my list. I started doing it a few months ago where I show you like long-term tasks or waiting for. So this was on me. You know, HR is doing so much during benefit season, but I decided, I did some research and I wrote some comments. So I did some research and particularly a great article titled, and I'll share with the board members if you like, Effective Mentorship Programs in the Workplace Are Doable. So after reviewing the article is one of those web articles that also then had hyperlinks to peer-reviewed research for different sections. And so I dove into it. Tom's found this great, you know, this great graphic, but we launched it. So on November 12th, it was put out in our first weekly digest. We have so far, I decided I'd execute it. So, you know, I didn't delegate it to anyone. It's an organic, I write in the email, it's an organic program. Sure, a lot of the people in this room are being voluntold that they've got to serve, but I know they want to be mentors anyway. And mentees are being connected from throughout the organization. I'm trying as best I can to make it cross-pollination. So this is also from the book, to have people from different, what would be silos of our operations connected to other silos. Of all different ilks. So we have more mentors than we have mentees so far, but we have 8 connections already made, and we'll keep on putting it out in our weekly digest and also trying to get this penetrated down into everywhere in the organization and across. So I really look forward to seeing these relationships blossom. You know, this is a volunteer thing just to help us hopefully have better retention. There's a lot of, I didn't know all of the things that they say, but it's mentorship programs are powerful, and learning more about organizations, supporting employee growth, enhancing workplace culture, and building leadership skills. So hopefully we'll see some fruits of this, but we're going to keep on trying and letting it grow organically. So just wanted to let you know about that. Next slide. Project Greenlight. So Operation Greenlight to show our support for veterans. So our headquarters is lit up. We do have a new challenge coin designed by Mr. Wright, and we're getting it out there. And we've had some great outreach to Fort Meade recently too. So just a note. Next slide. Just in this past week, so we had a lunch and learn, the daily tasks of a water wastewater operator by Mr. Bolden, who's here today. I guess he's going to present later too. Actually, I know he's going to present later. Thank you for that. So he'll give you a primer on his presentation, which was great. And then, you know, we're behind on our goal of 6 health and wellness events, and that's my bald head right there on the right. That's deputy to my left. We really believe in health and wellness and trying to instill it in all of our staff. And one of one of the proudest things is over the last couple of years of just mentioning health and wellness, that some staff have really made drastic changes in their health, which that's, I mean, the money's great, but that's really for people changing their lives and their lifestyles just from hearing about it and having some encouragement is just awesome. So I did a stretching mobility, but it's really a focused on the concept of mobility. So as we age, I'm just in my 50s, but I'm already feeling like some mobility challenges. And it's just to get up and do some mobility exercises that are a combination of stretching and range of motion. So I led the class, I did a little research, put together a 30-minute program. We did it on our lunch break, and it was well attended. And some of the new staff members really enjoyed it and asked when the next one. So we have 4 more already scheduled, and we're looking for a nutritionist. Deputy's going to do
High intensity interval training.
high intensity interval training.
Told them that's how I get even.
Ms. Condra is going to do Zumba. So we got talent on the staff that are just going to put it together. We're trying to convince Mr. Patel to do a dancing class. Anyway, so it was a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie for the 8 that were in attendance, and everyone else was working. So, but we saved them and they're streamed and they're in our little exercise collection class. Miss Carol was there too.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, next slide. And so on the to-dos, still pressing to get the 8 agreement, all of our agreements with the other state agencies before the session starts. I do want to highlight, so the OIT recruitment for VOTEC schools, that's also connected to an increase in our recruitment to try to create pipelines, not just one-time engagements, but to actually, create pipelines. We're reviewing the recruitment events that we go to that are successful. And then a part of that is a commitment through recruitment to make sure that we have each quarter, we have a KPI to balance, and I believe have at least 33% of our recruitment events that we attend be minority serving institutions. Not just the historically Black colleges, but also community colleges and UMB. We have a great relationship with UMBC, but also the VOTEC schools in majority minority areas to recruit them, let them know about our great career ladders and our great programs. So LAYC is one of those workforce development 18 to 22-year-old trying to get people GEDs and have them. I do have a report on the reentry program that I'll keep on working on. It's not robust enough to take off this list, but to keep on connecting. And then a new one on this slide is a comprehensive services document. As you've seen over the years of being board members, we have so many discrete services that we provide, and we have a 101, a presentation that we show people, but I want to have a leave behind that has more details on those services so that when we contact new clients, new potential clients, we have a nice, clean, denser document than a slide deck, than a PowerPoint slide deck. So those are all on my to-do list, and a couple have already come off from last one. And just Ms. Joe's questions on the comp study, that has been moved from HR providing data to finance, and we're going to come up with some graphics and our recommendation of how we move forward based on our system that we already have in place. So just to let you know, we haven't forgotten your question. Not on this is I just saw it in my notes the other day, but also we'll have something for you in January on PFAS and in our current. I did just finish the MDE PFAS action document. So it's a moving target, but we'll get back to you on some of the programs, some of the distribution systems that we manage in water treatment and that are in a space where PFAS. So I'll remember to direct Mr. Lipinski to make sure his staff have that ready for you by the January board meeting. And he's going to take a note right now so that I don't have to remember. Anyway, and I believe that's my last slide. And I'm happy to answer any questions. If anyone has any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from the board.
Thank you, Dr. Glass. And it was a very nice ceremony, the graduates of the training program. So to all of those who spent time working on putting that ceremony together, that was really lovely. The location was outstanding.
Yes. Thank you to Mrs. Leach and Ms. Mrs. Jenkins, Ms. Jenkins, for all the work they do to really keep that program moving along. And for the event, you know, they do all of the heavy lifting on that.
Wonderful. The program itself fascinated me. I think it's wonderful that MES is offering such a robust management and supervisory training program.
For sure.
Next up, we have new business report. We have a slide of the accepted proposals. If there are any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Okay, hearing none. Mr. Patel is going to tell us how solvent we are.
Right, my presentation is not as exciting as all the activities described by Dr. Glass, but I'll try to make it interesting. The part about finance is the facts, you know, I cannot make up any numbers, so I'll tell you how they are. I want to say that our financial performance, especially the billable labor, is exceptional. But I'm an optimistic guy, and this is only 4 months, and we will catch up as budgeted. Just want to let you know that our targeted goal is usually 4% increase in billable labor. I had an optimistic budget of 5%, but right now, as of now, we are 2.52% over fiscal year 24. So we are halfway. We still have to make up another 2.5% to meet the budgeted billable labor. However, in the future, the second and third slide, I will explain that it is not a concern because we are still doing better than the budget in the other areas except the billable labor, and we will make it in net earnings. Next slide. Also, I want to let you know that in fiscal year 24, our billable labor increased 9.04%. In fiscal year 23, it increased 12.38%. So we cannot maintain that growth. We would like to maintain that growth, but you know, eventually we cannot just keep on adding on top of increases. So we have budgeted 5%. We are at 2.5%. And hopefully we'll probably at least meet 4%. Next slide, please. This slide presents the fiscal year 25 versus fiscal year 24, 4 months ending October 2024. So the labor sales in the first row there is 369,000 more than fiscal year 24, but percentage-wise, it's only 2.52. The billable hour has increased by 6,411, which is not a significant increase, but it's a good sign that, you know, we are increasing billable labors, and hopefully it will increase. Some of the billable labor may be seasonal, so, you know, we'll catch up, hopefully, by the end of the fiscal year. The overhead recovery, since we are not increasing that much billable labor, is as budgeted, and the overhead variance, we are spending more money in overhead expenses. But I'll show you in the next slide that the bottom line net earnings are still better than projected. Our revenues are increased from 60 million to 66 million. So even though our billable labor has a slight increase in there, the revenues are increased significantly, which is majority of it is passed to the third-party vendors, you know, our suppliers. We go to the next slide, and I'll explain how all this affects year-end projection. So labor sales, we had budgeted 44 million, which is 5% higher than the last year. Our estimate based on the results as of October is 43 million. Is 985,000 less than the budgeted labor sales, but we are still 2.52% higher as of now. The overhead recovery is directly related to the billable labor. So we are not going to meet the budget as of now. It is budgeted as 20 million. Full year estimate is 19 million. The overhead expenses is where the biggest savings is. We had budgeted 17,681,000. We are expecting as of now that our overhead expenses will be 16,359,000. Lot of overhead vacancy. We have about 7 or 8 overhead vacancies, which contributes to savings in overhead expense. But at the same way, the vacancies in billable labor decreases the labor sales. Also, there are turnover that, I'm going to study on that, but the turnover may affect the labor sales also. We are doing the same projects. We are completing those projects at the same rate. But if senior operators or senior members leave MES and then the new person comes in, it will reduce the billable labor. That's one of the reasons I'm thinking is probably not why we are not meeting labor sales, even though the hours are more. But I'll do more analysis on that. But it's as you see at the bottom line here, increase in net assets. We had budgeted 5 million. As of now, with only 2.5% increase in labor, we're going to reach 5.7 million increase in net assets, which is mainly contributing like 1.3 million in reduction in overhead expense. Usually we do not budget the fringe variance, and it's right now, as of now, we are expecting 812,000 better than the budgeted, but we don't know what the new rates for the health insurances will be in January. So we have budgeted, we have estimated 812,000, but we probably would not go into a negative number there. One of the budgeted amount was the 1,100,000 other, which is equipment fund and interest income. The interest income is going down consistently, so we're probably 312,000 short of the budgeted amount. The bottom line is that there is optimism of increasing the labor sales, which will even better this net earnings. And even at this rate, we're still expecting better than budgeted net earnings of $5.7 million. The questions, if you have, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Bissett. We have Ms. Ramona Jones, who is the Acting Chief of Human Resources, to give us the Human Resources report. Ms. Jones?
Good morning. Thank you. Currently, we have 33 vacant positions with a total of 834 total positions here at MES. That accounts for 3.9% currently. We continue our efforts in identifying recruitment events and career fairs. For the month of November, we have 12 events. Next slide, I'm sorry. Okay, no worries. We had a total of 12 events, which includes 2 that are active today. 1 scheduled for December, and as I stated, we continue to look for opportunities for recruitment and career fairs. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Jones? Thank you very much. Ms. Condra, I believe we are now ready for procurement.
Hey. The first one is, this is a change order, and this is for the Water and Wastewater Operations Group. And this is for the project Hydrated Lime Bulk Ton. And the contractor is South Atlantic Marine Services Incorporated. The amount of this change order is, this is the first change order. It is $34,300. And this changed the total contract amount to $207,190. At this point, MBE goal was not set at the initial contract, so
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll
Second?
second. I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Thank you, Dean Johnson. Hearing none, all those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Number 2.
So this is another change order, and this is for the environmental legend. And this is for the project Dundalk Marine Terminal and Hawkins Point Hazardous Waste Landfill. And this is for the contractor United Rental North America Incorporated. This is the number 2 change order for the amount of $65,000, which revised the contract amount to $500,000. At the initial, there wasn't any MBE goal sets.
Okay, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Wonderful. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Number 3.
Number 3, it's a renewal, and this is for the group Environmental Dredging and Restoration for the project Various Maryland Administration's project, and the contractor is Gagan and Bryant Associates Incorporated. This is the first renewal for $2 million, and revised the total contract amount to $8 million. The MBE goal set for this was 29%. The participation to date is 27%.
All right, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Witt. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Judge Smalkin. Any comments or questions?
Madam Chair, I do have a question.
Yes, Ms. Joes.
Thank you. This contract was originally until 2027. Is there a reason why we're renewing it before it expired?
I can answer that. So we have a lot of projects that are under this contract for services from the engineering services, and they're very large projects like the Midway. There's a lot of geotech work that we're working on and QA/QC work. So we need to renew it in order to continue those services on Midway and also Masonville, plus 30 dike raising and plus 2 dike raising and some other contracts.
So was that not part of the original scope? It's a $6 million contract. So was that not included in the scope? It's this additional scope?
It's part of the scope. It's just we ran out of contracting capacity as far as dollars. So we needed more dollars to continue the work. And it's a task-based contract where we listed all types of services, including these services, and we just add tasks as work comes up.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just have one follow-up question to Ms. Joseph's questions. So does that mean that we're tapping into the funds that are supposed to be established in this contract for 27 through 29 to use now in 25?
Well, a lot of the work will happen later in, down the road, but in order to establish the task, we need to commit those funds, but it'll take years to use it all.
Okay.
Good questions. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approval, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Number 4.
It's another change order for the Environmental Operations Group for the project Brown Station Road Sanitary Landfill at the Area C Cell C-1 construction. The contractor is Allen Myers, MD Incorporated. And this is the third change order for the amount of $243,029.88, which increased contract amount to $10,193,034.93. The goals, MBE goal set for this is 29%. They're currently at 12%. And the reason is it's dependent on because of the phase of the contract. It will increase when it's at the waste cell construction phase of the project. And that would be in spring 2025. And Tim Ford can talk more to that if you would like.
Okay, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Wonderful. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 5.
This is a renewal for the Environmental Operations Group for the project Montgomery County Recycling Center, General and Skilled Labor Services. The contractor is Colossal Contractors Incorporated. This is the third renewal for the amount of $1,303,162.22. This leaves the total contract amount to $12,418,189. And the MBE goal set for this is 30%. They are currently achieving 46%.
Okay, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Potts. Second?
Yes.
Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Number 6.
Number 6 is another renewal, and this is for the environmental operations again. Project Brown Station Leachate Pre-Treatment Facility. The contractor is Maryland Chemical Company for the amount of, this is the first renewal for the amount of $113,960, which revised the total contract amount to $271,520. And they did not set an ME goal at that time.
Okay, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Wonderful. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Around the home stretch, Ms. Gondra.
At least it wasn't 14. So this is for the technical environmental service. This is for the project stormwater management and remediation services for State Highway Administration metropolitan districts. We're still in the request for proposal stage, so it hasn't been rewarded to anyone, but it's estimated to be a 3-year contract, up to $4 million, up to 5 years, and that's including with the renewal options. So we're looking at the MBE goal set of 29%.
Thank you. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Terrific. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. Where are we at in terms of the process for this RFP? Is it still out? Are we reviewing responses?
No, it's still out. I believe it closes this week.
Week.
Yeah, it may be tomorrow. So it's still out, so we won't know until tomorrow how many responses we've received.
So this estimate is based on what we think we're gonna get back. It could be higher, it could be lower.
Well, it's an RFP, so we're looking at contract amount. Again, it'll be task-based, so as work is assigned, it will tick away at that total contract amount.
Okay. And once this is finalized, this contract will come back to the board? Or is this,
Oh, this is the approval, so we can come back and let the board know who the vendors were that were selected. But I believe this is the approval for the solicitation.
It's
You're
pre-solicited.
approving- I was gonna say, you're approving the dollar amount,
Mhm.
our ability to contract for the dollar amount.
And there'll be hopefully 2 contractors.
okay,
This is for emergency response to drainage events like sinkholes on highways and outfall replacement for. So it's not a prescribed activity until the emergency event occurs. So this is the amount that MES can apply in this space.
that's very helpful, Dr. Glass. Thank you. I didn't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye.
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 Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, Ms. Condra.
Very good.
You have the procurement notifications. These are contracts, purchase orders, amendments, and change orders between the amounts of $25,000 and $200,000. If there are any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, hearing none, we are moving to the legal report. Ms. Carroll.
This will probably be the shortest report of the day. Particularly since we're not having a closed session, we're going to defer any legal discussions that need to be had in closed session until December. Our vacant attorney position has finally been advertised, and we are receiving a few submissions for that. It's open for another 10 days. Hopefully have some good candidates to be able to some people and get somebody on board maybe in the new year or early in the new year. That's all I have.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Okay, group updates with our managing directors. First, we are going to hear from, I believe, Todd Bolden with Matt Lipinski's team, the daily tasks of a wastewater operator.
If I may, I'm going to introduce Todd real quick, if I could. Todd started out as an OIT, operator in training, and now he is actually our Northern Division Regional Manager. And he's pretty dedicated to the cause here. And I'm excited to have him go ahead and do this presentation. One of the things Todd has so continued his education. He has a bachelor's degree and he's now working on an MBA. And, you know, when the Dr. Glass brought out the pipeline idea back about 2 months ago, Todd jumped right on that. And this presentation is part of that. And I think he's going out right after this to one of the Anne Arundel County Public Schools to do this presentation to some of the students to open up that pipeline. And the other piece of this thing that I think is kind of really neat is Todd and I are mentor and mentee, and it's as part of the program. And I'm pretty excited to have somebody of this caliber to I'm almost thinking sometimes maybe mentor me a little bit too. I mean, it's pretty exciting. So with no further ado, I'll let him go ahead and run through this presentation.
Happy to take over.
So we're going to go ahead and take a brief look at the daily tasks and roles and skills of our water and wastewater operators. First off the bat there, if we don't have any operators, we don't have any water. Operators are going to control and monitor treatment processes to ensure. Also going to handle navigation issues, leaks, and infrastructure failures promptly, preventing the spread of pollutants. And on the wastewater side, they're ensuring that harmful pollutants do not enter the environment, protecting the biodiversity and water quality. So we're making safe water for everyone to drink, and then we're taking care of it when they're done with it to release it back in the environment better than we found it. Next slide. Some of the key operator responsibilities that we're looking at is that they're overseeing water and wastewater systems and making adjustments to ensure efficient. They're performing regular water quality tests, making sure the systems are complying with all safety and environmental standards put in place. They're resolving any operational issues as they find them, such as leaks, overflows, or equipment malfunctions. They're acting promptly during emergencies to prevent contamination or system failure. Next slide. Getting into some of the skills that they need here, we're looking at machinery operation, their ability to operate various types of machinery and equipment. All of our plants are built by different manufacturers, different contractors, and have different equipment specified for their operation. Our operators must be able to get into those sites and understand how they work and keep them running. On the instrumentation side, they have to understand SCADA systems, the control systems, flow meters, gauges, and other control instruments. Blueprint reading, ability to read and interpret blueprints and technical diagrams to understand system layouts, piping, and equipment placement. When something's leaking, you have to know where to stop the leak, what valve to turn and when. And then lastly, mechanical aptitude to performing basic repairs and preventive maintenance to keep those systems running smoothly day in and day out. Next slide. On the analytical side, we're looking at problem solving, quickly identifying and troubleshooting issues such as those equipment malfunctions, leaks, or abnormal test results. Looking at trending, seeing what's happening over time, predicting those potential issues, and preventing them from getting to a violation or overflow status. They're analyzing the water or wastewater quality data to make adjustments and optimize the processes each and every day. And they're using critical thinking skills. They're evaluating complex situations with solutions and making informed decisions in high pressure environments. There's nothing more high pressure than standing in the middle of the road with a water main break and the residents have no water. It's Friday at 7 o'clock and they want their water on now. Next slide. Communication skills. Communication is key in this field. Documenting test results, daily activities, and system performance, communicating the findings to supervisors and regulatory agencies, along with our customers and clients. Team collaboration. They're working with other operators, technicians, and engineers across the MES to ensure plant operations run smoothly. And regulatory communication, providing accurate and timely reporting to meet compliance requirements and meet transparency. Next slide. Time management, routine tasks. They're efficiently managing their daily tasks as monitoring equipment, testing water quality, and maintaining logs, while also dealing with unexpected issues. They're quickly responding to emergency system failures or equipment breakdowns. And prioritization, they need to have the ability to individually prioritize their tasks based on urgency, ensuring critical maintenance or emergency issues are addressed promptly without neglecting our routine operations. Just because we have an issue at facility A doesn't mean we can't go and take care of facility B. They both have importance. And they have to be able to prioritize and execute their plan. Slide. Emergency response. Our operators have to be trained to respond quickly to emergencies such as chemical spills, equipment malfunctions, or environmental releases. Our operations staff are going to be the subject matter experts for their assigned facilities, how they function, and the hazards present. If something happens at our facilities and emergency responders show up, they're going to look to our operators and our operations staff to understand what is happening at the facility, what the issues are, and what the hazards are to their operations. Our operators are also going to maintain basic first aid and CPR training to handle injuries before medical help arrives. Next slide. Equipment malfunctions and unexpected repairs. Pumps, valves, and machineries fail without warning, causing disruptions in water or wastewater treatment. Operators have to quickly identify and fix those issues to minimize downtime and prevent further damage. And they maintain regular maintenance schedules, which help reduce the likelihood of unexpected failures, but don't eliminate all of the risks. And weather, like we all experienced last night, we had some heavy rain and heavy wind come through. A lot of plants were going offline. Alarms were coming in for high levels last night, and our operators were out on the road taking care of those issues. They have to be ready to implement emergency measures such as diverting flows or utilizing backup power systems to maintain operations during extreme weather events. An operator's job doesn't stop due to bad weather. We keep working when the postman goes home. Slide. Our operators are working daily to produce safe drinking water and maintain healthy ecosystems through proper treatment and system management. Their work is vital in safeguarding public health, environmental protection, and regulatory compliance. They're facing challenges from the regulatory side, equipment malfunctions, and weather-related disruptions daily. They're working tirelessly to provide safe water and sustainable operations that will continue to rely on the skill, innovation, and dedication of operators alongside the integration of advanced technologies. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. That was wonderful. That was a great presentation, and I hope that the others that have heard it have really taken away. I know that it's a critical job. It's a career that we need nationwide, and we're always in a shortage of operators.
Correct.
Ms. Dolinar.
Thank you. With today's EDR Inspire Award for their work on the Cox Creek House, I wanted to provide some additional photos and also the Swan Creek Nature Trail. Day began with an 8 a.m. bird walk for 44 birders with an MES guided tour all along the dredge material containment facility. And while they were there, they saw over 50 species collectively, including over 300 northern shovelers and 3 peregrine falcons that were apparently fighting in the air, and a flock of 20 American pipits. And after the walk, a lot of the birders proceeded to the Swan Creek wetlands to see some more bird sightings. As part of the open house, partnering organizations were on hand to share information on their group and their connection to the Port of Baltimore. This year we had the largest participation, and they're all shown here on this slide. Some of the stations that were featured this year included, of course, the riding tour along the DMCF and the Swan Creek wetlands. We also had an MPA Future Solutions Station, which is shown in the first photo on the left, and where they talked about innovative reuse of dredge material and the combined aquatic disposal options, and also the STAR facility. And then Masonville Cove campus had a station, and that's the second photo, and you see Ellen visiting. And other stations included Anne Arundel County Department of Public Works, where we have partnered with some dredge material placement needs for them, and also the Arlington Echo Outdoor Education Center, and that is the third photo in the slide. Overall, there were over 20 stations that provided project-related information and the opportunity for community to talk to the port and also other organizations. And there was also some interactive stations and a food station that was staffed by the MPA. And the open house is a very family-friendly event. And one of the most popular stations is the Touch a Truck. Little ones get to hop the driver's seat and honk the horn, and they do a lot of honking. Next slide. Fishing on the Patapsco is a newer station at the open house, and it's very enjoyable. MES and EPA first partnered last year with the Pasadena Sports Fishing Group, and it was such a success we repeated again this year. And lastly, the groundbreaking for the Swan Creek Nature Trail. This was held to mark the transition of the project into the construction phase. The event included speeches from Holly Miller, the MPA Director of Office of Navigation, Innovation, and Stewardship. Also included a speech from our own Dr. Glass and Representative John Sarbanes and Gary Gackenheimer, the Chair of the Cox Creek Citizens Oversight Committee. All in all, it was a great event for the port and the community, and it was as I stated in the Inspire, it was our largest participation to record, with 210 people attending. Thank you.
That's impressive. 210 participants.
Beautiful.
Nice.
It was very nice. And
Nice weather.
that really helped too. Beautiful day.
Yeah. I know we're having unseasonably warm weather. Along with that comes a lot of complications, but it has been nice to have such a nice couple of months. So Ms. Slatnick.
Hi, thank you. For this month's update, we have Sam Bernard. He is one of our most senior environmental professionals. He's on the BWI team, but recently he has been promoted to a position working with recycling and sustainability out of BWI, growing our presence there. BWI with some creative work.
Thank you and good morning. So this presentation is about the Recycling Assistance Project at Baltimore Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport. The task is broken up into projects of food residual collection, recycling, coordination, grease management, and regulatory tracking. Slide, please. The food residual program. This project is required under Maryland law, which requires the airport to separate food residuals from the rest of the solid waste stream. Using MES's unique relationship with the MAA, BWI, airport operations, and airport concessions manager, we're able to offer a food residual collection program that's effective and reliable for the airport's concessions. The airport concessions will separate their food waste at site, and then MES provides the green food waste collection bins and it collects on Monday through Friday to be transported to an approved disposal facility. Our goal is to maximize the amount of food waste residuals collected while also educating airport concession staff about the importance of the collection program. Next slide, please. Continuing with the food residual collection program, through this education, we have seen significant growth in the amount of food residuals collected, increased by nearly 4.5 tons since the start of the program on July 1st. So much growth, in fact, that MES has maxed out our current transportation capacity with our current program. And to allow for the program's continued growth, MES, in cooperation with the Maryland Aviation Administration, has arranged for one of the airport's existing 30-yard trash compactors to be used exclusively for food residuals, giving us the storage capacity that we need for the program's continued growth. We're expected to see an additional 3 tons per month once the latest airport expansion has been completed. So we're going to need as much space as we can get. Next slide, please. Through MES's agreement with Bioenergy DevCo, the airport's food residuals will be transported using the existing solid waste contractor to DevCo's anaerobic digester, where it will be converted into renewable natural gas and digestate or compost. By utilizing DevCo's system, we can further expand this program to include collections of plastic wrapped and prepackaged foods found in the airport's 14 different convenience stores. Slide. Our recycling coordination. MES works with the airport's solid waste contractor to keep airport's compactors and dumpsters in proper working order and to evaluate those systems by doing inspections of the solid waste stream, identifying deficiencies of the compactors and dumpsters in need of repair. Due to the unique and trusted relationship between MES and the MAA, the airport has been able to rely on MES to facilitate the emergency repair of various solid waste compactors that we're seeing around the airport. Examples of these include MES expediting the repair of the airport's critical trash compactor and the repair of 2 clogged trash chutes in the terminal during one of the busiest times of year. Without MES's assistance, these repairs would have taken weeks and would have severely impacted the airport's solid waste operations. Next slide, please. MES is working with the airport's concession manager to assist with problems related to restaurant grease. We do visual inspections of the rest of the airport's grease dumpsters, the Mahoney grease dumpsters, and the airport's grease traps. We conduct routine inspections of these facilities, noting any deficiencies and letting the concessions manager know when there are problems. of our additional goals is to educate the concession staff about the importance of proper grease disposal. We want to act as a deterrent so that the grease does not end up into our wastewater system and further impact airport operations. Next slide, please. And this is the final slide on regulatory tracking. MES works with the MAA to assess the airport invoicing. Through our assessment and inspections, we have already cited over nearly $4,000 of undocumented charges from the solid waste contractor to the MAA. Each month, we break down the airport solid waste stream and give percentages of recyclables, including grease, tires, metal, pallets, cardboard, yard waste, and food residuals. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. That was very informative. Mr. Ford?
All righty. Happy to give the board an update on the Baltimore County compost pilot project that MES operates for the county. We began this last December, so the upcoming year behind us, and an update. So back in September, we signed an agreement with Baltimore County to start a pilot program using the GORE aerated static pile system. The GORE system is unique in that the membranes allow for the right conditions to efficiently compost material, keeping moisture and oxygen temperature under control, while also eliminating the odor emissions that's positively aerated. So bioaerosols are eliminated, VOCs are eliminated, but we can control temperature and moisture. So it efficiently composts material. We're successful with this in Prince George's County, and that was one of the drivers for Baltimore County in starting this pilot program. Baltimore County selected a very small area for residential collection, only about 100 homes. That would not support the pilot. So MES sourced food scraps from commercial operations, help augment the amount of food waste that we would need to make this compost pilot program work. So the original term will conclude on December 31st, 2024. Next slide.
You talk about the solar array powering?
Yeah, it's in it.
Good. Oh, it's in there again? Yeah. Okay.
So the project team is come out of both our Harford County and our Prince George's County operations. Dave Kostomsky is our project manager. He also manages our Harford County projects. Steve Birchfield handles all the technical operations for the site. Steve runs the operations at Prince George's County site. You have taken a tour. No, Steve is very colorful in his presentation, and I hope to take the board there. Actually, we haven't taken the board there yet. Prince George's. That'd be a good tour. We do a number of tours at Prince George's County, including the most recent tour with EPA and 3 different state environmental agencies. A lot of interest in Angie Webb handled the marketing, and one of our operators out of Prince George's County, Ken Menlin, he happens to live in Harford County, so he was able to support operations at the site. Next slide. So the composting system is a rented system, but it uses a solar power array, no electricity at the site. There'll be a picture of the system that is set up. Aerate materials in the process. We were able to provide this service to the county through a temporary permit from the Maryland Department of Environment, which allows us to operate. There are challenges. We had a relatively small area to work, which actually plays to the strengths of the Gore system. It uses a much smaller footprint than any like a growing system would. He needed to get commercial food scrap vendors to participate, because again, it was a very small residential pilot. And it's a tough sell when you're talking about a temporary system to get people to commit to this program. But Angie and her team did a great job getting material inbound. And then we had to work with the Baltimore County operations staff. The purpose of the pilot is to teach them how to do it. They intend to, at the conclusion of this pilot, begin a much more aggressive food waste composting system of their own. So we're happy to teach our fellow counties, our fellow partners, how to do this. Next slide. For the feedstock, it's kind of a fun example. We have a pumpkin collection container in Harford County. So that was one of the first things we brought in last year was pumpkins. Start this. Most of the commercial feedstock was sourced from Baltimore County and Baltimore City. And we have managed 295 tons of food scraps through October 3rd. So the finished compost proved to be stable. The Saltiva test is a test that is done for compost to demonstrate stability. We were within the acceptable parameters for that. Laboratory analysis was conducted as well. The compost is within the required parameters to sell per MDA regulations. Baltimore County is not selling this material. They're going to use it on their landfill to augment plant growth. Slide. Next steps. So, with success comes additional opportunity. So the county has asked us to extend the pilot for an additional year. So we're putting a proposal together for that now. We also have to go back to MD and ask for an extension on the front. That's in the works as well. We will submit a project report for the first year's results to Baltimore County in the next. I think that's it. Questions? I don't have another slide, do I? Never.
Question?
That's a question. That's my question.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Is there any old or new business for discussion today? If not, this may be a record. It is 10:39. The original agenda did have a closed session on the agenda, but that has been postponed. And our next meeting is Thursday, December 19th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Thank you. The second?
Second.
Okay, I thought for a minute we were going to stay in session, but thank you for seconding that. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. And I will see everybody on Thursday, December 19th. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thanks, good.